So we're all excited about the future that Agentic AI is bringing. Okay, we don't sound excited. Are we excited? Yes, thank you. Right, hi, my name is Dmitry Leyko. I'm head of AI and ML at ThinkMoney. We are an e-money fintech based in Media City. We're local. Come say hi. And today I want to talk about some of the work we're doing. I'm going to leave a lot left unsaid. As I was coming here, I realized I forgot something. We're talking about fintech. I have to have a gilet, right? Well, hey! There we go, a gilet. Gilet here, gilet there. I want to talk to you today specifically around evaluations and partly regression testing, as well as observability in the cloud for agentic systems, around one of our products that we're soon to launch, our first iteration of, the Financial Smart Assistant. So it's going to be an assistant that can not just work with your money and you can talk to it about it. It's not only about talking about your money, it's about managing it. It's about giving you a real understanding and being quite proactive around it. It's going to be released in multiple stages, with one of them going live in the next 2 weeks-ish. And we're heavily looking at investing in the AI strategy. Specifically, we are an e-money company. We hold the money. We're not only allowed to talk about it, we can actually do things with it, which is all exciting. And I'm not going to go too in-depth into it. I think you're going to have to wait for our announcements on LinkedIn and other places. But today, I think the big question that hangs in everybody's head is, how do we bring absolute trust to agentic systems, right? Some nods. Incorrect. It's a wrong question. These are non-deterministic systems. We cannot bring absolute trust. We need to rephrase this. We need to reframe this. How do we think about these systems, which sometimes, given the same input, have a completely different output within reason? How do we bring enough trust into a system to allow it to run in production and work? Really, there are three main kind of pillars that you need to convince, at least in most banks I would argue. It's governance, risk, and compliance. You need to have good governance in the first place. Are you doing everything right as per your processes and policies? It's the first big question. And there's somebody that needs convincing. Risk. Are you considering all possible risks and failures? How do you mitigate them? What are your controls? What if something hits the fan? What are you going to do about it? And finally, compliance, right? Are we actually compliant? And will our agentic system potentially break that compliance? We need to bring enough trust to the people in our organization around these areas to make sure that we can safely deploy things in production. So, before I jump into DeepEval, which Chris started talking about it for a second there, I thought, going to steal my talk for a minute. I realized I didn't talk about our stack. What else are we doing here? We are a fully AWS native. We're using AWS Bedrock Agent Core runtime with LangGraph as our orchestration platform, and we're using DeepEval for our regression testing in the CI. And down the line, we're going to talk about Langsmith for observability and evaluations. I have to give credit here. Most of the work is being done by our wonderful engineers, Tom, who couldn't make it here today, and Gaz, one of our principal engineers, who's in the room. Go speak to him about it. Got a lot of knowledge about authentication, because you kind of started going in that direction. Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? So DeepEval is a framework that allows you to test agentic systems in a similar way that PyTest allows you to do unit tests on your standard software, right? There's a lot of pre-built metrics which are research-backed. You can then have very specific agentic evaluators, which instead of just evaluating an output of an LLM, start looking at, well, okay, was the right tool used? Was the right knowledge base used? Has the right retrieval happened? And so on. And it's designed to be run in the CI/CD pipeline, right? So you can run it before you commit, and then as part of your deployment pipeline. So here, this is not actual test of ours. I whipped it up earlier this morning. I decided to connect it to Olama because I couldn't be bothered to figure out and spent time with Gaz, had to connect it to our Bedrock instance. So I reconnected it to Olama. But you would literally approach this as a Python PyTest to a degree. What we see commented out here is the agent call, right, to get the actual output. I commented it out because I wanted a test to fail. I wanted to show that it could fail. We have a knowledge base attached, which has our working hours and all of this information there. And this is the output that I've put in just to demonstrate the failure. Let's have a look. So, those of you who've worked with Python are very familiar with this, right? You don't like the red. Not good. Here we go. So, I've edited 2 of the tests, and they, of course, failed. And the beautiful thing about this is actually, if you read into the description of why it failed, you have a score. So this, by the way, this particular test was an LLM as a judge. There are other ways you can use DeepEval to evaluate your agents. But in this case, let's go with this. So another LLM evaluated and says, actual output incorrectly states that the replacement card will arrive within 7 to 10 working days. And in the database, it's 3 to 5. And you can do this for single turn. You can do this for multi-turn. You can do this for tool evaluation. Has the right tool been used? Really, the world is your oyster. You can go to town. And you know what? Now you have a CI regression gate, right? It helps you to confirm that the agent that you're deploying, you've just spent work on, is actually, you know what you're deploying. What if somebody deleted one of the edges between the nodes? This will catch that before it makes it even to the test environment. And as you can see, I'm a huge fan of Schitt's Creek. If you haven't seen it, do. So, what's next? Langsmith. Well, specifically post-deployment. We settled on Langsmith initially as a temporary measure. Blame AWS. We're waiting for them to release evaluations in London. Don't know when. We'll see. But actually, we started looking at it, and it is very powerful. And I hope AWS takes this. I'm looking at AWS in the camera. Bring this in. You get a really comprehensive post-deployment suite to test, evaluate, and confirm that the agents that you have just confirmed in your CI are operating in a live environment just as you expect. So you can, yes, you can totally run batch evaluations on the golden sets, which Chris has wonderfully referred to, but you can also run evaluations on the live environment. So as the customers, in this case, for example, are chatting to the agent, you can immediately run 100% sample rate test. Doesn't have to be 100%. You can sample 10%, 5%. You can do this with Langsmith. And you can quite easily set different parameters. So for example, we set a parameter for a comment, overall score, response accuracy. There's probably about 20 others, which you'll see on the next slide. And in this case, again, it's an LLM as a judge. This costs a lot, but especially when you're releasing such a non-deterministic, unpredictable system, you kind of want to pay this up front at first to make sure it runs, and then you can downscale the sampling rate. And you get to see how it performs in production. Right, there's a lot. There's a lot to cover off in this. So this is an actual screenshot of our test environment, Langsmith. So what you have in here are the actual conversations. So you can see 3-turn, 4-turn, 6-turn. So these are testers looking at this and performing QA. And we can see this live. This updates within a couple seconds. So if we pick the 6-turn conversation, you then have a breakdown of all the messages. So you can think of these as messages from the human and a response from the agent. And then you get your feedback. So you get a feedback per message. So you get your comment, you get your customer sentiment, everything that we've asked it to go and evaluate. You get a detailed breakdown like this. So tone and professionalism, 5 out of 5. So it followed what we wanted it to do. You also get an average summary with a nice little mu. That made me happy. They actually put a mu there, which, anyway, that's the mean of the whole conversation. So you get really good overlook of what's happening as it's happening. The other interesting bit is the observability. So we've had a release CI gate for regression. We've had a look a little bit at evaluations post-deployment, and now actually observability. Well, within Langsmith, you get full traceability. So again, it operates on OpenTelemetry that was previously mentioned, but it gives you such a wonderful little graph to explore, little breakdown. So for example, this is one of our agents, which has the guardrails, triage, and then synthesizer. There's a bunch of other stuff that hasn't been called, which you're not seeing, but maybe for the better. And you can really see the breakdown of how long every step took, what happened. You can see here it searched the knowledge base, and it took 0.36 seconds. It's S3 vectors, not that fast, but good enough compared to all the other timings that we have there, right? You get a brilliant breakdown. You can theoretically get the same in the AWS CloudWatch, well, rather Agent Core Ability section. The problem is it's not presented in this lovely way that we can show to our stakeholders, that we can show to governance, risk, and compliance, that we can show to outcome testers. And you can go slightly further with this, and you can plot it all. And actually, I'm going to come back. Each of these single messages here, behind it has a state. So we can track state information. Was this a vulnerable customer? Was this potentially a customer that is not vulnerable in our system, but should be because of what they're saying? There's hidden variables, hidden states here, which are used by the agent to do decisioning as it goes, but also you can track this. Obviously here we have some costing just to show this, but theoretically you can extract all of that information from the state and create a dashboard that allows you to observe how the agent performs in the live environment across all those states. You can track any of that. And now we've done regression, we've done evaluations post-deployment, we've done observability. Oh, actually, I forgot this was here. So, frameworks don't matter. All of this, the fact that we're using AWS, the fact that we're using LangGraph, does not matter. They all use same principles behind them. And actually, funnily enough, I split this into pre-deployment CI evals and post-deployment. But LangFuse and LangChain kind of a little bit shift in this direction as well at times. It's not a clear split. So the fact that we're using Langsmith and DeepEval does not mean that you should be doing this. The principles stay the same. And there's a bunch more. These are just some of them. There's loads of frameworks you can use. All right, now we've done all of this. Mission completed. Yay, we should give ourselves a round of applause, right? Not in the slightest. No. There's one more step that we need to have, and not in every single, well, actually, for the first iterations and as we go, we have to have it in every single use case. Down the line, I don't know, but human outcome testing. Because it's all well and good, you can evaluate them, you can observe, and you can have this brilliant view of what your agentic system doing, but we need to then have experienced SMEs looking over what they're doing. If you're applying this, let's say, not to a customer financial assistant, but something within the ops, complaint handling, something else, I'm going to leave that to your imagination. Well, you really want somebody from complaints who knows how to deal with complaints or something else to go and look, not at every single use case, but at enough to bring trust, again, to the GRC, to the governance, risk, and compliance. If we keep them happy and involve them from the start, it should be smooth sailing, within reason. If you're building systems with agentic systems, don't wait to involve them till you're almost at production level. Bring them right in, show them, throw them in the deep end. They'll say, what the hell? And it's fine. It's part of the process. You need to bring everyone in the organization on the journey. I forget what's next. Oh yes, the trust lifecycle. Yes, of course. So this is something I put for this slide. This is very fluid. It doesn't have to be like this. It's just general principles. So, you build, you test, evaluate. You have QA. QA doesn't go away. As Chris said, the standard principles of software engineering apply. And we're in a regulated environment. You have to do this. You then deploy, observe, evaluate. You have outcome testing, learning, and feeding back information, working with engineers, bring them on that journey. And then you repeat. You just start again. Every new feature, everything you want to build, trust is maintained. It's not something that's just achieved once and you're there. So keep that in the loop. I think key takeaways. I thought I'd just put everything on one slide. But don't look for absolute trust. You will never get there. Bring enough trust to allow governance, risk, and compliance to be happy and for them to take a breath that it's not going to fall over. You have all the controls in place. Evaluations, regression testing, make sure that if somebody, we're all human after all, we're not Claude code, or Claude code is not perfect, but we make mistakes. Somebody might delete an edge, somebody might delete a node in the graph. You never know. You want it to be caught before it makes it even to test. Observability, live evaluations, so you know what's happening. And finally, have humans close the loop. Look at this evaluation, look at this observability, and get them to confirm and reconfirm back to governance risk compliance that, yes, this is correct. Well, then also audit comes in, but we won't get to audit. It's a whole hour talk here. But I think if you take these 4 things, you should be on a good path to having a system you can trust. Again, not all the time, but you can have enough trust to leave it running and just occasionally peek into it and be like, how are you getting on? We're hiring. We're looking for senior AI engineers and senior data scientists, ML engineers. Come speak with us. Speak with me, speak with Gaz. We also have Tim at the back. Wave your hand, Tim, our head of product. And then we've got Stephen as well at the back. Come speak to us. We're friendly people, we don't bite, even though we wear gilets. Well, I do, yeah. I had to. Thank you. Reach out. Come ask questions.